Well, the GOP tax reform bill is a huge talker today, and what most of us want to know is what it'll mean for you and me. Well, Spectrum News 13 morning anchor Rebeth Bruce-Wall sat down with a certified public accountant to talk about how our taxes will be impacted.
In a major change to policy, the GOP this week pushing through an overhaul of the nation's tax system. The $1.5 trillion tax cut plan is the first major overhaul of U.S. tax laws in more than 30 years, and a big victory for the Trump administration. Here to talk about what this means for our taxes in 2018 is CPA Sonia Narvaez. Thank you so much for being with us. So my first question to you, Sonia, is how does this bill impact everyday people when they do their taxes in a few months?
Okay, it's going to be a huge difference for next year. The first and most important for the average person is they will no longer have the exemptions, and the standard deduction is going to be just one flat for both of them. So that's very big when you look at doing your taxes. You will not have those two lines anymore.
Does something like that get more complicated the more money that you make, yes or no?
No.
Okay.
It's going to be a flat deduction.
So more streamlined.
Yes.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's both.
Okay. Explains in layman's terms that people can understand.
Yes. I actually played a couple scenarios. One of them being a single taxpayer with no deductions, no home, no real estate taxes. They would actually will not do so bad because they're going to get a $12,000, assuming this person is single.
Okay.
Then you get the married couple with also no house. They get a nice deduction, which is $24,000. But then you get the individuals, single and or married, who do have those deductions.
Okay, and that's where things get complicated.
That's when things are going to get complicated. But most important of all is children. If you have two children and you don't have regular deductions, basically this is going to be beneficial, the flat numbers. But once you get into the when individuals have or couples have other deductions and they have 4 children, then it gets much more complicated.
You know, is it safe to say, is it correct or incorrect to say they could be penalized? I mean, people have families, they have lives, they have homes.
It will depend individually as to how the calculation will take place. And since this is not totally final, we'll have to check out the phase outs, the income levels, etc.
It's complicated, very complicated, because this thing is happening as we speak. It's happening now. Who will be impacted the most? Is it a certain bracket, a certain type of people, or is it across the board?
It's pretty much across the board.
Okay.
We do have 7 tax brackets now, where we had 6. The highest being 37% this coming year in 2018, and 39% currently, 37% next year.
Okay, how soon could taxpayers start seeing effects on this tax reform?
As early as February. Everyone should start filling out their W-4.
And you were talking to me right before we started the interview. Walk me through that process. That's through the employer?
That's through the employer.
W-4.
Yes. They should fill out their W-4.
Give us a W-4 tutorial really quickly.
Yes. Well, normally when you get hired, you basically fill out a W-4, and this is for you to give your employer an idea of what they should be withholding legally. There's the tables. The tables are coming out in February. So employers should be able to take these W-4s early on in the year, so they can put these numbers in the computers, and the computer can start calculating.
So they're still trying to figure it out too. Everybody is.
Yes. This is quite early.
Okay, and the bill includes huge tax cuts for businesses. That's been one of the biggest headlines coming out of this. How does this help the average Joe? Does it or it doesn't?
Yes, it will, especially pass-through entities. If you had an S corporation, for example, and most S corporations are held by individuals, and they're not making the higher incomes.
Okay.
And depending on their tax bracket, it's going to be limited to about 20%. Pass-through entities are really going to benefit from that. And regular corporations are going to benefit from that because I believe it's going to be about 21%.
So do you see in the near future you're going to be working some overtime?
Yes.
This
Yes.
is they're redrawing
Yeah.
the rules, and so you're going to be very busy this
Yes, we are.
upcoming tax season. Thank you so much, Sonia, for your time and trying to work things out for us. You're trying to figure it out.
That's correct.
We're trying to figure out, and we can navigate through the system together. Thanks for your
Thank
insights.
you for having me.